Okay, so this is about Good Times, the show Good Times from back in the day.
Mhm.
I liked this show because I think it
Oh, yeah.
it was culturally appropriate for the time, and to watch a family who at times were happy, and then at times the world is crashing around them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they added Janet Jackson later, it made it different again when Janet Jackson was a little kid in there.
Yeah.
And then Flo died, and it was about the next door neighbor taking care of Janet Jackson and trying to navigate stuff. So it was always ever changing. So I don't know if it was purposely done like that or if there was turmoil behind the scenes with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But John Amos is, I never really heard his side of why, because he was in the first season and then he was gone.
He was the father, right?
Off. Yeah, he was the father. They killed him off. They're like, bye, see ya. So this is sort of his perspective on it. So I thought it was interesting because I'd seen it and I'm like, wow, we're trying to do current stuff, but it was like, I thought it was interesting and worth a conversation, you know? So.
Mm-hmm.
The differences we had on that show, and we had a number of differences, as evidenced by my early departure from the show, was I felt that with two other younger children, one of whom who aspired to become a Supreme Court justice, that would be Ralph Carter or Michael, and the other, Bernadette Stannis, I think, she aspired to become a surgeon. And the differences I had with the producers of the show was that I felt too much emphasis was being put on JJ and his chicken hat and saying dynamite every third page, when just as much.
Which is pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's a catchphrase that was throughout the show, but he had a problem with him just saying it all the time. Because maybe he was pitched that it was supposed to be more of a serious show, and that first season was not as serious. It was more a little bit.
No, it was Jimmy
comical.
Walker saying dynamite nonstop, and he'd go up his little easel with his painting and put his little palette and his hat on, and he was like shucking and jiving basically every episode. So I think that's where he's going, that he wished they hadn't have done that.
Yeah. So he might have been, I don't know if he was sold the show that it was going to be a comedy or if it was going to be the J.J. Walker show. You know what I mean?
Well, so given who created the show, which was Norman Lear, who also created All in the Family and a bunch of other sitcoms, I would think he would have known it was going to be more of a sitcom.
Yeah, but All in the Family also had some very, very serious topics that they talked about.
That is true.
So it was like, yeah, there was funny comedic moments, but they also went and talked about serious topics and stuff. So it's interesting. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's interesting his perspective on it because I had never heard anything about why he actually was gone.
Much emphasis and mileage could have been gotten out of my other two children and the concomitant jokes and humor that could have come out of that. But I wasn't the most diplomatic guy, like I said, in those days, and they got tired of having their lives threatened over jokes. So they said, to tell you what, why don't we kill him off and we'll all get on with our lives.
Lives threatened?
Yeah, wow.
expand. But go check out Archive American Television. They always do interviews with older television professionals and stuff. Go and check them out. Awesome stuff.
Life's too short. So that taught me a lesson that I wasn't as important as I thought I was to the show or to Norman Lear's plans. And he was not about to have a disruptive factor. That was me, a disruptive factor. I got the call. We were on hiatus when I found.
Have you ever been a disruptive factor?
Me? No, heavens no. I'm a good boy.
I swear that I never caused problems. Yeah, it's a lie. My nose is growing right now as we speak.
Found that I was no longer to be a part of the show, and Norman's secretary at that time, a very nice young lady by the name of J.D. Joe, called and said, "John, Norman would like to speak to you." And I thought that was kind of unusual as we were on hiatus. And so Norman got on the phone. He said, "Big John." I said, "Yes, Norman." He said, "I've got some good news and some bad news. What do you want first?" I said, "Hey, it's your dime. You made the call." He said, "Well, the good news is we've been picked."
I've used that one before.
Your dime?
Your dime.
I have to remember that.
Like when cell phones first came out, it was more like, oh, he's being funny. Now these people have no idea because they don't know what a payphone is.
It's true. Like, what do you mean it's my dime? What?
What do you mean when it's my dime? I'm on my cell phone. You know what I mean? It's like Okay, you missed the joke.
Up for another season, which was a foregone conclusion because we'd never been out of it. Once we broke into the top 10, we never were out of it, and we stayed in the top 5 for quite a few weeks, if I remember correctly. One way or the other, I couldn't understand why he was calling me to tell me that we were renewed. And then he said, "You want the bad news?" I said, "Sure, how bad can it be?" He said, "You won't be with us." And I said, "Nothing." I didn't say a word. I let that register for a minute. And he said, "You still there?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here, Norman." "Well, don't you want to say something?" He said, "What can I say? It's your show. Have a good life." Click. And that was it. I was going to be, recalcitrant to the end. You won't get me to roll over and cry for the job. No, forget you, man. But I didn't curse or anything. I just hung up the phone. And he didn't call me back to see if I had anything else to say. I never heard from him again for months and months and months.
Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah. I guess my overall take on that is when you're an actor, you're paid to act and read the lines they give you and shut the fuck up, which doesn't sound like he could do. So he's probably a pain in the ass, and the guy's like, "We're sick of dealing with you." Kind of an asshole way to tell him, like, "Hey, how's it going, John? I got good news and bad news. Good news, we got picked up for another season. Bad news, you ain't going to be in it."
Yeah.
Bye.
We got picked up for another season. We're all tripling our money, but you're not going to be in it. Because I had heard that there was that he had a problem with the show, and that's why he was gone. But I never heard it physically out of his mouth. So it was actually pretty interesting.
Norman Lear was on the Howard Stern show years and years and years ago, and he talked about this. I can't remember exactly what he spoke about, but since you brought this up, it kind of jogged that in my memory. I remember Norman Lear basically saying that this guy was a colossal pain in the ass, and he had to get rid of him.
I can see that. Great actor.
Mm-hmm.
I loved him. I loved him in. You know what movie I love him in, right? Coming to America.
Oh, that's right. He was the manager.
He's McDougal or McDowell's.
They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe it was a good move. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But he was great in that.
I'm generally a fan of, quote, "stay in your lane." Like, I get if you're an actor and you go to the director and go, "Look, you just popped on this episode. I've been playing this character for years. I don't think my character would say it like this. Here's a suggestion how it could be better." But not like, you need to change how you're writing your entire show. No, how about fuck you? No.
I've talked about this until I was blue in the face. That is handled in pre-production. You are reading the script before you even start getting on set. Everybody is aware of what the tone of the show is going to be. So for him to sit there and say that he didn't know and it was the JJ show, I ain't buying it. Because you have meetings, you have sit-downs and read-throughs. That's when you talk about the characters and where you want to go with your characters. Right, wrong, indifferent, if people like it or not, that's where you discuss that stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't go on set and be like, "You know what? Fuck this day. I want to change my character right now." It doesn't work that way. We made fun of what was that girl from Snow White where she's like, "Well, if I'm going to be in costume, I need to get paid a certain amount of money." It's the same shit.
Yep.
She knows the commitment that she is making before she makes it. For her to run her mouth, she should have been gone. I would have fired her ass. See ya.
That would have pissed me off too. They were probably too far in post-production to. I mean, you know what I mean?
They probably were way too far into it, and maybe she's an asshole and knows this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.